and Becky had a photo booth, so that was kind of fun for everybody. And then I have a picture of each district. And I think Karen has sent the copies out to all the districts. We still have pictures of your district teams. But here's the overall group. So we start with Alva Paloma and just go on through alphabetically. Ted was there to get his picture taken with every group and gave some nice opening comments. You decided to try the photo booth and you see the picture. And then I just wanted to wish you all a great summer. We've had pack, back, and suits this week. And so this is our last for each of those meetings, and just wanted to let you know I need to take a trip to Maine next week, and I'll be gone the 23rd to the 30th. Hope you all have a good summer. Enjoy.
Okay, thank you, Susan. That'll move us into item number A3, which is parking lot review.
And we have none.
We have none. So we'll go into section B, which is public comment. We do have some cards for public comment. The first one, Rita Lee.
Thank you. First of all, I wanted to talk about the public comment practice of making the public comment after the item is presented. And as Catherine mentioned earlier, now Susan no longer presents written material for her self-administrator's report. So we had a preview at the PAC meeting, but basically you have no information presented at the meeting for the public. And I made these comments at the county board meeting this week, which that board gave the public the option to either testify before the item was presented or after, clearly trying to listen to the public. So the actions of not allowing the public to comment after the item is presented by staff is sending out a signal that public comment is not welcome and public participation is not welcome by this agency. But then when Susan goes to Sacramento, of course, she's going to tell legislators that she loves kids with disabilities and that she needs more money to provide them with an appropriate education, when really that's not the story that we're seeing develop on the ground as parents. What we're seeing is heavy litigation, denial of services. You've seen some settlement agreements for 20 hours of tutoring a year, and the parent had to go to due process. In my case, when my district filed recently or last year against my daughter, they filed for exactly the same issue that they had filed on or that was at issue back in 2010, where OAH had already ruled in my daughter's favor, and the case had gone to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and the court had ruled in my favor. And I don't know if Dr. Lord has read the opinion, but I encourage him to do so, because I believe the litigation is coming from the SELPA, not from the district, because I'm in communication with my board members as my elected officials. And they're certainly not on board with going on with this litigation. As a matter of fact, they voted to approve a settlement agreement that the SELPA will not implement. So I encourage you to watch the hearing of the Special Education Finance Subcommittee of March 22nd, where the Legislative Analyst Office basically said children with disabilities in private schools still have a right to be to get an offer of FAPE from their district of residence. They're still entitled to that. And that's the issue that this agency continues to relitigate, even though they've already lost. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next comment for public comment is Captain Mara.
Wanted to bring up special ed classes, particularly at Altaloma High School. One of the things that we have to do with my son is we have to write down what they're doing in class and homework because he has trouble remembering what he has to do. And one of the things that I've complained about over and over, particularly in the special ed class, is they're not doing enough with them. It's basically they're sitting there and not teaching them. And I've brought this up to the dean, and he's writing in here, fell asleep. And it's over and over. Nothing to do. No homework, fell asleep. And it's over and over in here, fell asleep. They're having them watch a CNN, which I have problems with because I don't think that's diverse enough. That's another issue. And then they're writing a paragraph or 2 paragraphs. And I've talked to the Dean Stites several times, and the class doesn't change. You're not providing enough education for special ed kids in this class. And when we ask for assistance or remediation, again, SELPA, who's behind everything, denies. And it's deny, deny, deny. And you are not giving our kids help. And my child feels like he has no path anywhere and is becoming, with all of his disabilities, disengaged, angry. And I've spoke to you guys about kids that are becoming angry. We've talked about kids getting aggressive, and it's because you guys aren't assisting these kids. And we're losing these kids, and they're getting into lots of trouble because special ed kids aren't being treated the way they should. We are losing them. You guys aren't helping them. You're not giving them assistance. You're not giving them remediation. And then because SELPA is encouraging you guys by you want parents to take them to litigation because you guys reimburse them 100% by making us go get attorneys instead of giving us assistance. They only reimburse you 70% if you let us get assistance. I think that's a shame. Rather than that's not helping the kids, that's not helping the parents. That's all about money. That does not speak well of SELPA, which to me means districts really should go on their own and have your local control and help the kids, which is what you should be doing, and not into these big conglomerates, because you're not doing the kids any good. Kids need help, and you're not addressing it. Why should we have to fight for assistance for the kids? They're failing. And when your teachers aren't teaching, especially in special ed, and they're just sitting there falling asleep, that speaks loudly.
Our next speaker, Martina Ortega.
Hi. So I was able to participate at the SELPA Legislative Day 2. We were able to visit with senators, assembly members, and I was able to support O'Donnell's bills, but only if amended. For it to be for direct services for students, not for administrative pay raises, not for litigation. I was also able to share yesterday with the senators and assembly people the letter from OAH about your due process manager, and to prove once again how in bad faith he's going into litigation and draining our special education funds. I also spoke to the appropriations persons too. Again, bad faith litigation. And as a taxpayer and a registered voter, I cannot support more funding for special education if it continues to be for litigation. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Flora Martinez.
Hello, my name is Flora Martinez, and I'm just here to give you guys a 411 of how Ontario Montclair School District is doing. And we just came, the reason we were late is because we just came from their CAC, and they're doing great. I'm really excited for the upcoming year. They're really focused on educating and providing these services for the kids versus litigation, which is something we stressed upon Western SELPA to do for many, many years. I'm just excited to see the renovation of the programs that they're coming up with. So I encourage you guys to look into their program, see what they're doing. They're doing a phenomenal job. And that's it. Thank you for your time.
Okay, that will complete our blue cards for public comments. That'll move us into item area C, discussion items. We do have a card for C1. Rita Lou.
Yes, this is for the CAC item. I'm not sure if this is on or not.
Yes.
It is? Okay. And basically, we've made repeated comments about the CAC information not getting out to parents. I mean, that has been a long-standing issue. Thankfully, now there is a webpage, so, you know, parents can find it there. And I'm thankful to Karen for sending me emails about the meetings, which is required under the Brown Act. Once upon a time, I was not getting those emails, and it took about 2 years for me to get the emails. But I don't see why the West End SELPA can't do an email blast to parents in the West End SELPA to tell them about CAC meetings that are happening. You know, the only event that gets promoted is the art and writing contest. And that, I mean, it's a nice event, but that's not the focus of what the CAC should be doing. And like Martina said, we will not support, as a matter of fact, we strongly oppose any increase in funding for the West End SELPA. And our legislators are listening to our side of the story. And we are telling them about what's going on and how the West End SELPA, on the one hand, is saying we love children with autism, we love children with Down syndrome, and on the other hand, they're taking children with autism and children with Down syndrome to due process, and they're litigating against these children. So this is not conducive to community collaboration, and the CAC, I think, should be doing a better job, assisted by the West End SELPA, because the parents on CAC, like Sharon, they're volunteers, and we appreciate them volunteering their time. But interestingly enough, parents that have dissenting opinions and that express concerns do not get selected to serve on CAC. So this is a problem. The CAC is not really functioning as it should be. It's not doing its oversight duty. Just going along with the SELPA agenda is not sufficient. Thank you.
Okay, that'll lead us into C1, which is our Community Advisory Committee Annual Report. Welcome.
Okay.
Thank you for being here.
All right, thank you. I brought some notes so I don't forget anything. So good morning, I'm Sharon Knowles. I am the chair of the CAC, also a parent representative from the Altaloma School District, and I'm chair of the local plan and legislative committee as well. So I'm pleased to provide you with this annual report on things that we did with regards to business meetings, trainings, and events. We have met for the business meetings as outlined in the bylaws of the West End SELPA and the local plan. As part of the governance process of the West End SELPA, we have reviewed and had the opportunity to provide our input to the West End SELPA with priorities and budgets and things that they're planning to do for next year. We have reviewed proposed budgets and most recently the annual budget plan and the service plans. With regards to trainings, this year we partnered with the districts and the SELPA to participate in efforts to learn more about the importance of conflict resolutions and conflict engagements and the importance of the home and school relationship. As part of that effort, we worked with Greg Abel from Washington and Carlo Rossi from Sonoma County. We learned about enduring conflicts and engaging in conflicts in healthy ways. We also learned about the role of a parent partner, which is more like a parent-to-parent support that has been proven effective in providing support and resolving conflicts at the earliest points possible in many districts across the country. The SELPA invited all parents to attend meetings with Greg and Carlo Now, although attendance wasn't extremely high, it was very meaningful to many of the parents who attended, and one parent described it as life-changing in her district. This CAC also held trainings in other topics. In February, we had Rosie Leahy. She is a CAC member from Chino. She is a trained clinical counselor. She provided training on self-esteem for children with mental health disabilities. Rosie's connection with parents and the relevant information she shared made this a very meaningful training, and I'd love to have her back again next year, and not just self-esteem in children with special needs, but self-esteem for all of our students. I go to these trainings and I think, okay, I'm pretty well versed in what's happening. I try to keep up on things, but every time I go, I learn something new, or I get a little bit of information or an idea. So one of the things I learned here, it will be a tradition in the Nolt home, and she was talking about simple ways to promote self-esteem in your children. A quick little note, something little. You're a hard worker. Tape it on the back of their door. So this is what we did at our home. It was just about Valentine's Day, and I cut out little hearts out of construction paper, different colored pinks, and I set them out on the counter with a pen, and while I was cooking dinner, I said, hey guys, I put these hearts here. And throughout the next couple weeks leading up to Valentine's Day, if you feel like you want to say thank you, or this is what I love about you, or you are fun, just a little note, put it on their door, put it on the mirror in their bathroom, if you feel like it. Now they all looked at me like I'd absolutely lost my mind. Even my husband was like, okay. So the next morning, each member of my family woke up to a little tape on the back of their door, little note, and it said something very simple. Thanks for working hard. Your smile is contagious. Just something real small about them individually. And nobody said a word. But the morning went really well. And the next day, I put a couple other locations, maybe open to get your English muffin and there's a little something, because I know my daughter's always going to eat that for breakfast. Nobody said a word. Okay, so I thought, yeah, they're right, I am absolutely crazy. The next day, there were little hearts that they had done for them. I found one in my car, and my husband found one in the garage. 2 weeks later, our house was colorful with pink and little things about just happiness. And I learned it right here, just a little something you could do. Okay, so did it work? We had a great month. A couple weeks later, I'm doing homework with my youngest daughter, the one with special needs, and I was like, oh, this is really hard. And she's like, it's okay, I'm a hard worker. Ta-da! Yes, you are. And it took us hours to get through what we were doing, but we did it successfully. So I really encourage people of all needs, special needs, typically developing, these aren't just for children with special needs. We put these on for all of our students. I feel like that was successful. Other events we've had. Well, we did do things on homework strategies, on how to get your child to be more compliant. We hear that people and parents want these trainings. We're putting these trainings on, not as successfully as attended as we would hope, but we're working on that. We have some strategies for the future. And we're thinking about a parent university, which I think would be fantastic, and really focus on the young, the 3 to 5-year-olds or the 2 to 3-year-old parents that are just coming in. Like, what is all this about? And how can I just become educated before I start? I think it's a good place to be. In November, we co-hosted Life After High School. That was an event with the West End SELPA vocational team. Parents who attended were provided information on a wide variety of vendors and had the opportunity for breakout sessions to learn about transitions and things that happen upon exiting high school and what can they do. This room was full. There were lots of things and more information than I knew, and hopefully we'll have it again in a few years. I still have a few years to go. So the 20th annual Art and Writing Ceremony, I know we've been talking about it, but it was really that good. It was held at Vineyard Junior High on April 24th. Our theme this year was Soar into Our Future, so thank you to those who attended the evening and congratulated our students as they received their wings and their certificates. We set up 500 chairs and there was standing room only. It's just a great event. On May 2nd, Susan and I went to Sacramento and we participated in the Legislative Information Sharing Day. I want to personally thank the council for approving this 5 years ago. This has been the 4th year I've had the opportunity to go, and now when Susan and I walk in, they recognize us. they're like, oh, yeah, what are we talking about? And it's a warm welcome. And, ooh, what's Dana doing now? So they know we share our personal stories with them, and I think that they're engaged when we speak. This year we focused on the AB 3136 written by O'Donnell.